Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Thank you so much for joining me today on my YouTube channel, Dear Kendra. And I'm having my cup of tea. And today we're going to be talking about going caffeine free. So, if you have ever wanted to go caffeine free, but maybe you've tried it and didn't work out so well, maybe you had reactions from going caffeine free or just haven't even really thought about it. I'm going to go over some tips today on how you can become caffeine free because I am totally caffeine free and the best ways to do it or how I did it and was successful at it. So the first thing is why would you want to go caffeine free? Well, for me, I'm on a spiritual journey or a journey about me, and so basically, I am not drinking alcohol. I eat really well. I'm doing yoga. I'm doing lots of things to work on my inner self. And really wanted to try being caffeine free to see how it feels, to see if I was able to stay more present. I noticed that I was a huge coffee drinker, so I used to have 3 or 4 cups of coffee in the morning, and I'm talking like grind your own beans, really strong coffee, no cream, no sugar, just black coffee, 3 or 4 cups in the morning. And that's how I got my morning started. But what I've started noticing was that the I was always on edge all day. So just having those few cups of coffee in the morning, even though the caffeine had wore off throughout the day, I was just felt like underlying, I was just on edge. And really, what my goal is to try to get my inner self as calm as I can throughout the day. So as things pop up or if things are happening, I'm able to stay calm, cool, and collected. And with being on drinking so much coffee, I just felt like I had that like an inner buzz all day, and it really wasn't helping me stay awake because that's really why I used to drink it. Like, right, so we get up in the morning and we're like, where's my cup of coffee, because we think we need it to wake up. Well, once I started weaning myself off from coffee, I realized that I didn't need coffee to wake up. I felt the same, actually. I mean, it gave me a jolt at first, but I didn't like the after effects, especially after I went caffeine free. I just noticed a really big difference. And let me just adjust this. There we go. In the fat and how I operated throughout the day. And so here are my tips to get started to be caffeine free. So what I did was I started kind of I took it slowly. So I did this over a matter of probably a month and a half. And I just started drinking less coffee. Like I cut my cups of coffee down in the morning. So instead of having 3, I'd have 2, and then I went down to 1. And then what I started doing was after that, I started drinking tea. And tea has a little bit less caffeine than the coffee I was drinking. The tea I was drinking still had caffeine in it because I didn't want to abruptly take myself off from the caffeine. You can develop headaches and things like that, and some really because caffeine does affect your body in lots of different ways. So I didn't want that to happen. So I basically started drinking tea, and then I started throwing in some cups of tea that were non-caffeine. And there is a difference between non-caffeine tea and decaffeinated tea. Decaffeinated tea still has a little bit of caffeine in it. Non-caffeine tea is just an herbal tea with no caffeine at all in it. So I started mixing in a cup of herbal tea, and honestly, it tastes just like regular tea. And there's so many different flavors that you can try, which is kind of fun because when I go shopping for tea now, I'm able to try these different flavors, which is kind of cool. And then I just literally, so I actually bought this chai tea that had caffeine in it, and my daughter had gone caffeine free, and so I kind of followed her path, and I just whittled my way down, and now I drink just herbal tea, no caffeine. I still get a little bit of caffeine in some foods. Like I had a hot chocolate this morning that had caffeine in it. I do eat dark chocolate, which has caffeine in it. So I'm getting some caffeine, but I'm not getting it in the things that I'm drinking. I've never drinking any energy drinks. So that's another thing to wean yourself off from as well. If you're hooked on energy drinks, I know a lot of people, but I did used to take, before I worked out, I did used to take a drink to help me get going, and that had caffeine in it. So I completely stopped that. So I'm not on any kind of purposeful caffeine. And I can tell you there are some main differences in terms of how I feel. I feel more present. I'm able to read my body better. Like when I am tired, it's not caffeine that's holding me up or picking me up. It's actually that my body's tired. So I'm able to read my body better. I feel clearer. My head is clearer. I don't feel an underlying buzz. I feel a lot calmer throughout the day. I've also noticed I don't need caffeine to wake up in the morning. I have a nice cup of hot no caffeine tea when I get up in the morning, and this is peppermint. That's probably one of my favorites to have first thing in the morning because it just gives me, I don't know, it just feels fresh. And so I've noticed that I don't even need caffeine at all. I don't even need it. The only time where I've felt that I kind of went downhill was we had a stressful situation over the weekend where we lost my friend's dog for like a day and a half, or it wasn't quite 24 hours, but it seemed like it. It was overnight, and it was really stressful. And that morning, mid-morning, we were out searching for the dog, and I stopped and got a cup of coffee. But other than that, I haven't had any coffee in weeks. So here are the things, the advantages of going caffeine free. Money. So even though I didn't buy a lot of coffee out, like I didn't go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts unless it was a special occasion, which is expensive. There was an article I just read recently that if you buy 2 Starbucks coffees a day, it's like $2,800 a year. And that probably has gone up. But I didn't do that often, but I did buy really expensive coffee. So I was a coffee snob. So I had to have my coffee fresh ground beans, and I bought the best organic. So I spent a lot of money on coffee weekly. I never put creamer or sugar in my coffee, but just the coffee, the amount of money that I was spending on coffee was a lot of money. The other thing is for people that buy coffee out, it's saving the environment. So there's less cups, plastic cups or paper cups or whatever you're getting your coffee in. I see them all over the place. So that helps the environment as well. I'm at home either, having my tea. I usually use an organic herbal tea. Try to pick something fresh, local too. There's lots of local people that make their own herbal tea, so it's helping out the economy, that type of thing. And I guess you could say that would be the same with coffee. The other thing is health-wise. So it's my body can regulate itself better now instead of having to use caffeine, and I really like that idea. I'm pretty much into health, so if you've seen my other videos or if you've seen some of my Facebook posts, I'm a very healthy person, and I try to stay along that lines. But I think the biggest feature for me is just how I feel. I feel so much calmer inside. I can regulate my emotions better, right? I don't go off the deep end because I have that underlying edge of I don't know what you call it. It's just a buzz always going from caffeine. So those are my tips today on how to go caffeine free and why I'm going caffeine free. The other reason is I'm going to be doing a 3-month yoga practice, and in order to stay clear and present during my yoga practice, I want to make sure that I'm free of caffeine, and so that's another reason that I went caffeine free. But give it a try. Let me know how you do. If you have any questions, Comment below. If somebody you know is trying to get off caffeine for a health reason or just because they want to feel better, and if you feel that this video would be helpful, please share. Don't forget to like the video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next videos.